Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla's new Model 3 configuration, another round of sharp Tesla price drops, software features returning, the disappearing EV tax credit, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, a few Tesla software features that were previously available are now returning. A few months back, due to new regulation, Tesla wasn't allowed to have their windows auto-close or close from the app, among other things. This was a frustrating removal for owners, since these features allowed customers to never worry that their windows were left open. But it was a recall that only affected certain cars. It was a lot of them, though, covering 1,096,762 vehicles. This covered Model S and X vehicles built in certain periods from 2021 to 2022, and then Model Ys and 3s built in certain periods from 2017 to 2022. At the time of the feature removal, Tesla Service said, quote, "Due to recent federal regulations, certain automatic window features will not be available until further development. The unavailable features were rolling up or down the windows with the switches unless the vehicle was authenticated to drive, remote window features like venting or closing the windows from the app, the automatic feature to close windows on locking, and automated window closure when entering car wash mode. Now though, these features are finally coming back. Tesla software will notify users saying, quote, "Your Tesla now has access to new window features. Vent and close your windows remotely through the Tesla app and enable close windows on lock and controls locks on your vehicle's touchscreen." For some customers, these features never disappeared, but for others, they were part of this recall, and finally those features are being restored. I'm really glad to see these restored features because they're extremely useful to have. I particularly love knowing that even if I left my window cracked and it's now raining outside, the windows closed automatically when the vehicle locked. Next up today, when Tesla first released the Model 3, there was a configuration they offered that appealed to many people that has since been discontinued. Even when Tesla first announced the Model Y, they announced this same configuration as an option, but it has never actually been released. The reason it has never been released is unclear, because it actually offered the longest range for each of these cars. That's because it's a long-range battery pack, but comes in rear-wheel drive instead of all-wheel drive. One less motor means that the car has less weight and can therefore travel further on the same sized battery pack. Today, Tesla offers 3 Model 3s, the standard range rear-wheel drive or single motor, and then long range and performance all-wheel drive or dual motor. Now though, they're officially offering a 4th configuration once again, long range rear-wheel drive. According to Karen Bowen, Tesla's senior key account manager, quote, "To accelerate the electrification of Europe's B2B fleet, we are introducing a new Model 3 variant that caters to the needs of our commercial customers. Model 3 long range rear-wheel drive combines a segment-leading range of 394 miles WLTP with highest charging convenience at an entry-level price point from £46,990. That translates to around $58,500 and about £4,000 more than the base Model 3 is there. Soon it will be Tesla's longest range Model 3 option, but as mentioned, it's only available through Tesla's business-to-business division. It gets 394 miles, but that is WLTP range, which roughly translates to 350 or 360 miles EPA. So while it's exciting to see a Model 3 approaching a 400-mile range, in the real world, the improvement over the all-wheel drive Model 3 could be nominal. With stock wheels, Tesla currently quotes a range of 358 miles EPA for the long-range all-wheel drive Model 3. But interestingly, this car still is unavailable to purchase a full 4 months into 2023 when Tesla said it would return. Their website still says available in 2023 under the grayed out Model 3 long-range option. So it does raise the question as to whether or not Tesla may reintroduce that long-range rear-wheel drive option in the US. As for the timing of the new Model 3 available to business, quote, "This vehicle is available to order through our B2B channels with deliveries set to commence in June." As pointed out by Electrek, a big reason they could be offering this now is due to the incentives for EVs to be purchased through businesses in the UK. One such incentive is tax being capped at 2% for a company car depending on the vehicle. What I'm most curious about though is why Tesla is reintroducing this only for business customers. Long term, if Tesla is building up a supply chain and putting time into creating a specific configuration, it seems likely they would offer it to any customer. Also, with the new US EV tax incentive rules, the rear-wheel drive standard range Model 3 has lost its full incentive. It's now only $3,750 of a credit instead of a full $7,500. So in the US, the introduction of a single motor long-range Model 3 could allow Tesla to offer a Model 3 that's cheaper than the dual motor long-range model that also qualifies qualifies for the full tax credit. It would qualify since the long-range battery would be made in the US and wouldn't require Tesla to change much other than putting the large pack on the single-motor Model 3 they already make in the US. That said, the efficiency of the dual-motor Model 3 is really great, and it's a popular option for many, so it could be a vehicle we never see return. They're now offering it to business fleet customers, though, since it's a longer-range option without being the full price of the dual-motor model. I'm really curious to see what happens here and why Tesla still has yet to reintroduce the long-range Model 3 in the US at all. Maybe they'll wait until the refresh, which is expected to bring a number of features, including a completely revamped front end. Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. Next up today, Tesla has once again sharply dropped prices on the Tesla Model Y and Model 3. At this point, we're approaching the prices that these cars used to go for a few years ago, and it's really great for consumers, and then, of course, as always, unfortunate for those who just bought at higher prices within the last couple months. First off, for the Model 3, the base price is now under $40,000 at $39,990 for the rear-wheel drive Model 3. The only version of the dual motor they sell right now is the Performance at $52,990, but presumably that long-range version, once it's finally reintroduced, will fall under $50,000. I'm curious to see if Tesla at their earnings call announces this new Model 3 or if they wait another quarter. Part of the reason for dropping that price likely has to do with the fact that that car no longer qualifies for the second part of the EV tax credit, the additional $3,750. But also Tesla is lowering their prices for cars that still qualify for the full $7,500. For the Model Y, Tesla recently introduced that dual motor standard range version made with their 4680 cells, and that has lowered $3,000 to $46,990 as a base price. That configuration is brand new for Tesla to actually be offering in their configurator, but if you compare the base price of that to the base price just a few months ago, it's a $19,000 difference, which is absolutely crazy. For the long-range Model Y, they also dropped that car $3,000 down to $49,990. So now both the standard and long-range Model Y start at under $50,000. Comparing that long-range price directly to the exact same configuration 4 months ago, that has dropped $16,000. And lastly, for the Performance Model Y, that comes in at $53,990. On top of that, if you qualify for a tax credit, all of these configurations fully qualify for a $7,500 EV tax credit. The Model S and X pricing stayed the same, but if you haven't checked it recently, it now starts at $85,000 for the dual motor Model S, and the dual motor Model X starts at $95,000. So now Tesla's cheapest car starts at $40,000 and qualifies for certain tax credits, and then their most expensive car, the Plaid Model S or X, starts at $105,000. That is such a big difference from just a few months ago, and it's really great to see. Of course, this always raises demand questions, but I think the primary thing here is that Tesla is scaling up and able to make these cars for cheaper and sell them to more people. That has been their ultimate goal for a while, and this pricing is still getting back to what it was a few years ago. Just a few more $1,000 and that Model 3 could get to the originally promised $35,000 starting price. Next up today, the deadline for the new EV tax credit requirements has come, and many EVs now no longer qualify for anything, while others now qualify for less. To summarize what's going on here, the US government is incentivizing two things: EV battery minerals being extracted and processed in North America, and the manufacturing of those batteries being in North America. To accomplish that, the IRS is requiring a percentage of EV batteries and their materials to be sourced in the US or a free trade partner in order to qualify for full or partial credit. That also includes batteries that are recycled in North America. This is good news in the long run, but right now it means automakers are going to miss out on this incentive. Tesla has been clear about where they stand in this for a while and has the details of which model qualifies for what on their configurator. Their cheapest car, the rear-wheel drive Model 3, no longer qualifies for the full credit, but I'll get to that in a minute. As of April 18th, the IRS has officially enforced these new rules. According to their website, if you take possession of a new clean vehicle on or after April 18th, 2023, it must meet critical mineral and battery component requirements to qualify for the credit. This applies even if you bought this vehicle before April 18th. This affects just about every EV maker currently producing EVs at scale who haven't had time to build this new battery infrastructure. Major automakers like Volkswagen, Rivian, BMW, and more no longer qualify for any tax credits at the federal level, and that comes before any price restrictions. The full list of vehicles that have lost their credit status are the BMW 330e and X5 eDrive 45e, Genesis electrified GV70, Nissan Leaf, Rivian R1S and R1T, Volkswagen ID4, ID4, Audi Q5 TFSI e-Quattro plug-in hybrid, and Volvo S60 plug-in hybrid. Just because these models don't qualify currently, though, doesn't mean they can't in the future. VW has said they're fully optimistic the ID4 will qualify for the tax credit, and that they, quote, are awaiting the proper documentation from a supplier to determine its eligibility for the credit. Nissan said they're working closely with their suppliers and are hopeful the Leaf will qualify for at least partial credit in the future. Volvo's response was to say they agree with the administration's push to lower emissions, but disagree with their mission to bring battery production to North America. So far, we haven't heard anything from Rivian or BMW. For many companies, they just haven't had time to adjust to these new guidelines, so there will be a limbo period where they won't qualify. Eventually, once they are able to move battery production to the US or another qualifying region, they should though. Also, the Treasury said in December that EVs ineligible for the $7,500 consumer tax credit could qualify for a $7,500 consumer leasing credit. These companies haven't been focused on building US-based battery supply chains, but other companies have. Despite that, though, some of these companies have also lost partial credit, meaning they still qualify for half the credit, or $3,750. If a company either sources their materials in North America or assembles their batteries in North America, that's half credit. One Tesla vehicle has been disqualified there, though, the rear-wheel drive Model 3, because its battery materials are sourced in China. Instead, buyers can get half the credit, $3,750, because the batteries are still assembled in the US. Those are LFP batteries, though, which are a different chemistry that Tesla doesn't make in the US, though. It's rumored, though, that Tesla is already working on a US factory specifically for LFP cells in partnership with China's CATL, the world's largest battery manufacturer. Other companies that will still see half the credit include Ford and Chrysler. Reportedly, Ford Motor Co. and Stellantis, Chrysler's parent company, said tax credits on most of their electric and PHEV models would be halved to $3,750, and the Treasury confirmed this. The Model 3 rear-wheel drive will also only qualify for half, but as a result of their proactive approach to building US-based battery supply chains, the Model 3 Performance and all Model Ys qualify for the full $7,500 tax credit. Additionally, that long-range Model 3 should qualify once it's reintroduced. The Model S and X, though, are subject to the $55,000 and $80,000 price caps, respectively. GM also expects the Chevy Bolt and Bolt EUV to qualify for the full credit. Other EVs that qualify for the full credit include 2022 and 2023 plug-in hybrids from Chrysler and Jeep, the Ford F-150 Lightning, E-Transit and Mustang Mach-E, as well as their PHEV Escape, several PHEVs from Lincoln, the Cadillac Lyriq, and lastly the Chevy Silverado, Blazer, and Equinox EVs whenever those finally come. Compared to how many vehicles are being manufactured in the US today, this list is fairly short, but this is just the beginning. The number of clean energy vehicles that qualify is only going to increase from here, and that's good news for both consumers and the planet as a whole. Next up today, the biggest question with EVs is battery supply. Tesla is constantly working on this, and we just talked about them possibly making a new LFP factory in the US, and we have a couple updates there even further. First, Tesla's primary battery supplier is Panasonic, and Tesla works with Panasonic at their main Nevada battery factory. Last year, we heard that Panasonic planned to boost production at Giga Nevada. Then in January, Tesla detailed their continued expansion at Giga Nevada. Now, though, on top of all of this, Panasonic is looking to build a new factory in the US. Quote, Panasonic Holdings is considering Oklahoma and 2 other US states for a major investment as it plans to boost production of electric vehicle batteries in the country. The new factory may or may not be intended for Tesla supply specifically, as there are many other EVs coming to market, but a new US battery factory from a successful battery manufacturer will be huge for the whole industry. At the same time, though, even if it's intended for other companies, Tesla has been clear that they will buy all viable batteries they can get their hands on, so I wouldn't be shocked if they grew their orders from Panasonic as a result of this new factory. Quote, the report also claims that the Japanese manufacturer is open to battery investments in Canada and Mexico. For Tesla themselves, though, they are of course working on their own 4680 cells, but may be expanding elsewhere as well. We know they make 4680 cells at Cato Road near Fremont, and that those cells ship on the new standard range dual motor Model Y in the US, but they have also planned to put those battery cells in the Cybertruck. Scaling is going to be required here, and we're now seeing Tesla expand other battery operations at Fremont. We don't know the exact purpose yet, but quote, according to filings the automaker submitted to the city of Fremont in September 2022, Tesla is building a battery pack line on the second floor of its Fremont factory. Reportedly, this project refers to Pack B build, whereas Cybertruck battery lines have been called CTA Battery B build. According to Teslarati, these new lines are likely to supplement existing vehicle builds and could be 2170 cells or packs rather than their new 4680 cell format. So as Tesla adds capacity at Giga Nevada and Panasonic potentially opens a new factory in Oklahoma to supply more battery cells, cells, Tesla might be making even more 2170 cells in-house, or at least assembling more packs in-house. That comes as they also plan to expand 4680 operations. What I'm most curious to see with all of this is what battery cell type Tesla plans to ship first on the Cybertruck. I wouldn't be surprised if 4680s still aren't scaled enough when they plan to launch that truck, but I'd love to be proven wrong. Next up today, one of Tesla's biggest solar markets is California. Customers in California love taking advantage of the sun to get solar energy, and then store it in Powerwalls for use when the sun isn't shining or when there's a blackout. There are also many new features coming out from Tesla, like their virtual power plant, allowing you to earn money from your excess stored energy during an event. But California just made big changes for metering. They shifted from MBT, Net Billing Tariff, or NEM 2.0 to NEM 3.0. Part of this change is to ensure customers buy backup batteries with their solar purchase because, quote, it basically results in removing the model of getting credited for sending energy back into the grid at the import price. Instead, new solar power system owners are getting credit for sending energy into the grid at the value of the avoided cost to the utility. This drops the value of solar a lot for customers, except for certain periods of the year. As such, Tesla is now informing customers that the value of a Powerwall combined with solar has significantly increased. They said, 1. Using more solar allows customers to save more. Adding Powerwall allows you to store solar energy and use it later, instead of exporting it to the grid for minimal credit. A solar-only system will reduce the median customer's electricity bill by 57%. With Powerwall, the bill will go down by 92%. And 2. Earn more during power hours. Powerwall's intelligent, customizable software allows you to take advantage of the power hours in September when credits are 75 times higher than the lowest export prices during the month. One such example is PG&E. In September evenings, when the grid is stressed the most, you can receive $2.87 per kilowatt hour at 19 hours. So if you spend September sending energy back to the grid each day, you can actually earn quite a bit of money. The rest of the year, though, the rates are much lower, sometimes as low as a fraction of a cent, since the grid doesn't really need it. Overall, the NEM 3.0 change is an unfortunate one to see, but Tesla sees their Powerwalls as a solution for customers, allowing them to save up to 90% on their electricity bill. In the long view as well, the Powerwall should pay for itself. They plan to provide Powerwalls with every solar install in California. Taking advantage of high rates like those in September is something Tesla is pointing out to customers, but long term, I think things like Tesla's virtual power plant may be the real winner here. I'm really curious to see how that all develops. Last up today, an update from Polestar. Polestar just unveiled their upcoming Polestar 4 at the Shanghai Auto Show. It'll be a small SUV, smaller than the Polestar 3, but larger than the Polestar 2. This one will be Polestar's fastest car yet, capable of an estimated 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, with 544 horsepower for their dual motor configuration. The single motor option will get a 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds, but get up to a 300-mile estimated range. For the dual motor version, the car can, quote, sleep the front motor to increase efficiency, but will still have a 10% lower range at an estimated 270 miles. All configurations will have maximum 200 kilowatt DC and 22 kilowatt AC charging rates, with those fast charging rates capable of bringing the battery from 5 to 80% in 32 minutes, and for AC charging, bringing it 0 to full in as little as 5 hours. It'll also have bidirectional VTL capabilities. Unlike the Polestar 2 and 3, which share a platform with Volvo, the Polestar 4 will be built on Geely's SEA architecture. What stands out though is that this car, along with their Polestar 5 concept, has no rear windows. Instead, there's a camera that feeds video onto the screen where the rear view mirror would normally be. That allows the glass roof to extend further over the rear seats. That glass roof has an electrochromic option, which means that it can be made transparent or opaque. Pricing details will come in 2024, with the car releasing later this year, but it'll start somewhere in the range of $60,000. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the 6 times a Tesla was hacked, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.